In 2022, a coach named Simone Vagnozzi got one phone call that changed his life and changed the future of men's tennis. The call came from his best friend, Alex Vitter, who also happened to be Jannik Sinner's agent. Sinner had just split from his longtime coach Riccardo Piatti and needed someone new. Vagnozzi was given a trial. No promises, no guarantees. Just a shot. Today, that same coach stands beside the man who dominated tennis in 2024, winning 5 Grand Slam titles and becoming the undisputed world number 1. This is the story of how a 20-year-old already ranked in the top 10 refused to settle, how his coach rebuilt him from the ground up, physically, mentally, and how that partnership turned raw talent into total domination. And it all started with one conversation that told Vagnozzi everything he needed to know. Back in 2022, Sinner had just walked away from Piatti, the coach who had guided him for years. It was a bold move for a young player still building his legacy, and it left a huge question mark hanging over his career. Who would step in? Who could take a 20-year-old already ranked inside the world's top 10 and push him even further? That's when Vitter made the call. Through that lifelong friendship, Vagnozzi was handed an opportunity most coaches only dream about, a trial run with a player already on the edge of superstardom. He didn't know yet if it would work. Nobody did, but it did. What makes this story fascinating isn't just the partnership itself, it's what Vagnozzi discovered the very first time he sat down and talked with Sinner. He walked into that conversation expecting a certain kind of answer. Here was a young man already ranked number 10 in the world at just 20 years old. Most players at that stage, most humans really would be thrilled. Content, ready to enjoy the ride and build steadily from a strong position. That is not what Vagnozzi heard. Instead, he found a player who saw top 10 as a starting point, not a destination. Sinner wasn't interested in simply holding on to elite status. He wanted the summit. He wanted to become the very best player walking the earth. And in that moment, something clicked for Vagnozzi. He realized this wasn't going to be a normal coaching job, protecting a ranking or fine-tuning a game that already worked. This was going to be about building a champion from the ground up, reshaping every corner of an already gifted athlete into someone capable of standing at the very top of the sport. The talent, of course, was never in question. Anyone who watched Sinner play could see the weapons were already there, the fearless ball striking, the composure beyond his years. But raw talent alone doesn't win Grand Slams. It doesn't hold up over 5 sets against the best competitors on the planet, week after week, tournament after tournament. Vagnozzi understood that immediately, if Sinner was going to chase the throne, his whole approach needed to evolve. So, the work began, and it wasn't just about strokes and tactics on the court. Vagnozzi zeroed in on 3 major pillars that needed serious attention. First, his physical conditioning. Sinner needed a stronger, more resilient body to survive the grind of the tour at the highest level. Second, his musculature, building the kind of strength that could hold up during the most brutal physical battles against the very best in the world. And third, and maybe most importantly, his mental game. Because talent gets you into the top 10, mentality is what gets you to number 1. Alongside Darren Cahill, who brought his own wealth of experience and tactical wisdom, Vagnozzi worked to sculpt every part of Sinner's game and mindset. It wasn't an overnight transformation. It was a steady, deliberate climb, one that started quietly in 2022 and gradually built momentum until Sinner made his real move toward the top of tennis in the second half of 2023. You could feel it happening. The results were sharper, the wins were bigger, and the belief inside that team was only growing stronger. Then came 2024, the breakthrough, the year everything the team had built finally exploded onto the biggest stages in the sport. Sinner didn't just climb into the number 1 ranking, he dominated. 5 major titles fell to him that season, an extraordinary collection of records and milestones piling up along the way. The kid who once sat across from Vagnozzi and calmly said he wanted to be the best in the world actually became the best in the world. And when Vagnozzi looks back now, comparing the player who first walked into his life to the champion standing on top of tennis today. He doesn't see gradual improvement. He sees an entirely different athlete. Someone who has been rebuilt piece by piece, physically tougher, mentally sharper, tactically more complete. The talent that impressed him from day one is still there, but it's now wrapped inside a player who has mastered every demand the sport can throw at him. Vagnozzi has spoken openly about how this all started, crediting that lifelong friendship with Vitter for opening the door, and admitting he was essentially auditioning for the job when he first sat down with Sinner. He's described how surprised he was that a 20-year-old ranked in the top 10 wasn't satisfied, how that ambition told him everything he needed to know about what was possible. He's talked about the physical and mental work that had to happen behind the scenes, work that rarely gets seen by fans watching from the stands or through a television screen. And he's reflected on just how far his player has come, saying that when he thinks back to the version of Sinner from years ago, the player in front of him today feels like someone else entirely. What's remarkable about this journey isn't just the trophies or the ranking. It's the mindset that sparked it all. A 20-year-old, already sitting comfortably in the world's top 10, who refused to settle, who looked his brand new coach in the eyes during their very first conversation, and made it clear that top 10 wasn't the goal, it was simply a stepping stone. That kind of hunger is rare. And when you pair that hunger with the right people around you, people willing to rebuild your body, sharpen your mind, and challenge you every single day, you get exactly what we've seen from Jannik Sinner. From a promising talent knocking on the door of the elite to the undisputed best player in men's tennis. Built not overnight, but through years of deliberate, demanding work, guided by a coach who was given one trial and turned it into one of the most successful partnerships in the sport.